COVID-19 dan salah satu daripada calon vaksin yang telah pun kita senaraikan adalah daripada pihak Sinovac. Excellency, I said that the delivery this morning will be part of our vaccine portfolio. Sinovac has been another vaccine that has been considered by the Malaysian government for our national immunization policy. And we are hopeful that with the Sinovac vaccine, and if it is later approved by our regulatory agency, it will certainly be part of our portfolio to meet the target of 80% of the population in Malaysia to be immunized. Saya ingin menyatakan bahawa penghantaran vaksin Sinovac ini adalah penghantaran secara pukal ataupun bulk delivery of the vaccine. Ya, ia bukan vaksin finished product. Dia ada dua perbezaan, vaksin yang dihantar yang dah siap. Maksudnya vaksin itu datang dah masuk dalam berbuli ataupun dah masuk dalam vial. Tetapi vaksin yang kita terima hari ini adalah vaksin secara pukal. Maksudnya kita dapat dalam bentuk bulk. Dan ianya akan dihantar ke kilang farmaniaga di Puchong, di mana satu langkah untuk kelulusan itu akan bermula. Sebab kelulusan bagi Sinovac ini ada dua. Pertamanya kelulusan untuk vaksin itu sendiri. Yang kedua kelulusan untuk proses penghilangan di farmaniaga. Sebab itu ramai yang tanya, oh kenapa hari ini kita terima vaksin yang masih lagi belum dapat kelulusan daripada pihak regulatory. Ya? Ini disebabkan proses kelulusan regulatory mestilah melihat bagaimana vaksin ini dikilangkan ataupun dibotolkan di kilang farmaniaga. Barulah dia boleh bagi kelulusan. Ini apa yang disebut ya sebagai bertujuan untuk menyediakan data permohonan pendaftaran dan juga menjalankan proses validasi, penjalanan sijil analisa produk yang siap dan juga melihat kepada data stability daripada kilang farmaniaga. So this issue has to be explained very carefully. Ya, kita kena jelaskan bahawa ya memang betul vaksin Sinovac masih lagi dalam penilaian NPRA. Tetapi untuk kita bagi kelulusan kepada farmaniaga, kilang farmaniaga untuk melaksanakan fill and finish, maka NPRA kena buat penilaian kepada kilang itu sendiri dan juga kepada proses fill and finish. Dan itu tidak dapat dilaksanakan kalau kita tak ada vaksin. So they have to study the stability report, the manufacturing, penilaian manufacturing di farmaniaga. Barulah NPRA boleh buat penilaian dan akan buat satu recommendation ataupun sure kepada pihak berkuasa kawalan dadah ataupun PBKD yang akan buat kelulusan sama ada boleh ke tidak. Ya. Tetapi saya nak buat perbandingan sebab ada yang kata kita dapat vaksin yang belum lulus. Ini vaksin bulk untuk tujuan kita menilai kilang. Ada negara lain yang mungkin ada tahap penilaian regulatory yang sama ketat dengan Malaysia yang terima Sinovac finished product. Where? Singapore. Singapore has already received Sinovac walaupun belum lagi mendapat kelulusan daripada badan regulatory. And that's not for fill finish, that's a finished product already. Why are countries doing this? Sebab kita dapati bahawa sekarang ini bekalan sangat-sangat kurang. Dan kita nak pastikan bahawa walaupun kelulusan regulatory belum lagi diberi, kita bagi kebenaran untuk bawa supaya dapat diuji stability testing dan sebagainya di kilang. Jadi apabila kalau dapat diluluskan oleh NPRA dan pihak berkuasa kawalan dadah, maka vaksin itu dah ada di sini. Senang untuk kita teruskan dan saya diberitahu farmaniaga kalau diluluskan dapat keluarkan 2 juta dos setiap bulan. 2 juta dos setiap bulan ya di Puchong. Maksudnya kita ada bekalan yang steady supply daripada farmaniaga. Data-data yang saya sebutkan tadi adalah penting untuk memastikan vaksin yang dikilangkan di Malaysia adalah sama dari segi kualiti dan potensi sebagaimana yang dihasilkan oleh pengilang Sinovac di China. Ini membolehkan data ujian klinikal ke atas manusia yang dijalankan menggunakan produk yang dihasilkan oleh pengilang di China digunakan oleh fama niaga untuk menyokong bahawa produk mereka adalah selamat dan berkesan. I'm sorry, Excellency, I've been speaking in Malay, but what I've been saying is that we've been bringing this batch of vaccines in bulk because our regulatory agency, the National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Agency, has to conduct certain stability testing at the factory to ensure that the vaccine is safe, the manufacturing process is safe, and that they can give their approval for the vaccine to be used in Malaysia. And that's what I'm explaining to the press, because there are some people asking the vaccine has not been approved. But this is part of the approval process. Ini sebahagian daripada proses pendaftaran, yang mana vaksin ini mestilah dinilai di kilang fama niaga itu sendiri. Saya juga ingin memaklumkan bahawa tahap keberkesanan vaksin Sinovac ini, ini juga perkara yang mendapat perhatian orang ramai, antara 50.4% sehingga 91.25%. Vaksin ini telah pun diguna di negara-negara selain daripada negara China, di Indonesia, di Turki, di Chile, Hong Kong, Brazil dan Cambodia. Malah vaksin yang disuntik kepada Presiden Republik Indonesia adalah vaksin Sinovac. Ya. Jadi vaksin ini telah pun diguna pakai. Dari sudut perbezaan keberkesanan, dia telah bergantung kepada uji kaji yang telah dijalankan. Dia 90% di Turki, tapi 50% lebih di Brazil. Sebab profil sukarelawan yang telah menerima suntikan Sinovac di Brazil, dia lain sikit. Ya, dia lain sikit. Dia beri kepada golongan yang berisiko tinggi, khususnya barisan hadapan. That's why the clinical data from Brazil was slightly over 50%, because the volunteers in that clinical trial were those in the front lines. And the way that the efficacy numbers were reported were a little bit more complex. Namun demikian, saya ingin tekankan bahawa mengikut Badan Kesihatan Antarabangsa, WHO, the minimum level of efficacy is 50%. Whatever it is, seperti mana yang saya sebutkan semalam, our NPRA is very, very strict. Dan mereka tidak akan luluskan vaksin yang tidak selamat dan tidak berkesan. Ya? Jadi saya harap tidak ada keraguan daripada mana-mana pihak, Sinovac ataupun mana-mana vaksin yang diluluskan oleh NPRA dan juga pihak berkuasa kawalan dadah KKM adalah vaksin yang selamat dan berkesan untuk digunakan di Malaysia. Saya ingin juga memaklumkan di sini bahawa sehingga jam 7 pagi tadi, sebanyak 1,183,779 semula. 1,183,779 pendaftaran telah diterima melalui MySejahtera untuk menerima vaksin COVID-19, dan sehingga semalam dalam banyak-banyak pelancaran di peringkat negeri, sehingga semalam 3,580 orang telah pun diberi suntikan vaksin COVID-19 di Malaysia. Thank you, Excellency. Would you like to say a few words?
Please welcome His Excellency Ouyang Eugene, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the People's Republic of China to Malaysia, to say a few words.
Distinguished Minister of the Science, Technology and Innovation, Khairy, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today we are here to announce the good news worth of the celebration. The first batch of the Sinovac COVID-19 vaccines has arrived in Malaysia. As a Chinese ambassador to Malaysia, I'm very pleased to attend the handover ceremony of the Sinovac COVID-19 vaccine. I would also like to take this opportunity to extend my sincere respect and gratitude to all the friends who had made great efforts in China and Malaysia cooperation against the pandemic, including that in the research and production of the vaccine. Since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic more than 1 year ago, the government and the people of China and Malaysia has worked side by side in fighting the pandemic and recovering the economy, providing firm support and sincere assistance to each other. Which demonstrates the deeper friendship between our two countries that has supported each other through thick and thin. Last October, Chinese State Councilor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi visited Malaysia. During his visit, China and Malaysia has reached an important consensus on the vaccines cooperation. Over the last several months, the Chinese government and the Chinese embassy in Malaysia has been working closely with the relevant Malaysia ministries, including Ministry of the Foreign Affairs, Ministry of the Science, Technology and Innovation, and the Ministry of the Health, encouraging Chinese vaccines companies to cooperate with the Malaysia side on the vaccines procurement, production, and phase 3 clinical trials. We have tried our best to make Chinese vaccines arrive in Malaysia as soon as possible. Last month, Sinovac signed an agreement with Februari to supply the 14 million doses of the COVID-19 vaccines in batches within a year. Today, the arrival of the first batch of the vaccines in bulk shows the tangible achievements of the China-Malaysia vaccines cooperation and represents the deeper friendship between China and the Malaysia people. The first batch of the Sinovac in bulk will be packed into 300,000 doses of the vaccines by Februari. The additional 100,000 doses of the Sinovac vaccines are ready, good for emerging use, and will arrive as soon as registration is approved. A few days before, the Malaysia government has announced a comprehensive national immunization program. I believe the arrival of the Chinese vaccines will contribute to this program and help cast out the haze of the pandemic at an early date, supporting the Malaysian people in the new chapter of life. I would like to take these opportunities to elucidate that the Chinese government has always given top priorities to the safety and the effectiveness of vaccines. We required the Chinese vaccine companies to promote the vaccine research and development in strict accordance with the scientific laws and the relevant regulations. The phase 3 clinical trials of the Sinovac vaccines has been carried out in many countries. Over 36 million of the doses of the Sinovac vaccines has been administered in China and abroad. The data and the result prove that Sinovac vaccines is safe and effective. Besides, it has been deemed halal by the Indonesian authorities. I hope this information will infuse more confidence into the Malaysian people who will be inoculated in the Sinovac vaccines. Ladies and gentlemen, viruses do not respect borders, and the humanities shared a common destiny. Only by cooperating in the spirit of the solidarities can the international community overcome the pandemic we are facing now. China has formally supported and taken active roles in the global fight against the pandemic by providing the medical supplies, sharing pandemic prevention experience, and promoting the vaccines cooperation. China has been promoting the concept of the community with a shared future for mankind. Despite the huge domestic demand for the vaccines, we still deliver the President Xi Jinping's solemn commitment of making the Chinese vaccines a global public good. Do our utmost to provide assistance to the international community and cooperate with the relevant countries on vaccines through various means. And China announced to provide the 1 million doses of the vaccines to the provide 10 million doses of the vaccines to the WHO-led COVAX, mainly to meet the urgent needs of the developing countries. Our goal is to make vaccines accessible and affordable to as many people as possible in all the countries, truly becoming vaccines for the people. The pandemic is not over yet. The fight against it is still going on. Yet, we remain convinced that winter cannot stop the arrival of the spring, and the darkness can never shroud the light of the dawn. China will continue to work with Malaysia and other countries to strengthen our cooperation on vaccines, pandemic prevention and control, economic recovery, and other fields, and to protect the people's life and health hand in hand, so that we can jointly usher in the final victory of the global battle against the COVID-19 and create a better future with our joint efforts. Thank you all.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you. Okay, I'll take questions from the media. There's online as well as here. We have a microphone for the media here, please, on the left. Ya, sila.
Baby, soalan saya ada 3. Yang pertama, bila agaknya keputusan untuk kelulusan kepada Sinovac ini akan diketahui? Dan soalan yang kedua, difahamkan bekalan kedua Pfizer sudah selamat tiba ke Malaysia beberapa hari lepas. Mungkin YB boleh kongsikan detailsnya. Details bekalan kedua Pfizer. Dan yang ketiga, soalan ramai yang tertanya-tanya ni, bila agaknya YB nak ambil vaksin? Di mana dan bila? Terima kasih.
Soalan pertama tadi adalah bila vaksin Sinovac akan menerima kelulusan daripada Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia, ya, daripada NPRA dan juga daripada pihak berkuasa kawalan dadah. Jawapan saya jelas hari ini, saya tak tahu. Dan saya tak boleh tahu. Sebab NPRA buat kerja secara bebas dan berkecuali. Ya, saya tak boleh tanya NPRA bila nak lulus, saya tak boleh tanya pihak berkuasa kawalan dadah bila nak lulus. Jadi jawapan yang tepat dan menyenangkan hati rakyat adalah saya tak tahu. They must be allowed to do the work. Yeah, of course, we want them to approve safe vaccines as quickly as possible, but there's no shortcut. Jangan paksa NPRA untuk buat apa-apa keputusan ataupun desak mereka. They must be allowed to do their job. Baru rakyat Malaysia senang hati. Tidak ada apa-apa desakan, tidak ada apa-apa tekanan terhadap badan regulatory kita. Yeah, that's very, very important. So I don't know. On the question about the Pfizer vaccine, kita akan update selepas mesyuarat JKJAV hari Isnin nanti berkenaan dengan perincian penghantaran dos dan sebagainya. Ya. Soalan ketiga adalah bila saya nak terima suntikan vaksin. Saya telah meneliti sejak beberapa hari ini pandangan dan pendapat daripada rakyat. Saya melihat Perdana Menteri kita, Ketua Pengarah Kesihatan dan sekarang ini banyak menteri-menteri besar dan frontliners telah mula menerima vaksin Pfizer. Jadi rakyat sudah semakin yakin dengan Pfizer. Ya, dia yakin dengan Pfizer. Sebab PM pun dah ambil, Menteri Pertahanan pun dah ambil, tak ada apa-apa kesan sampingan. Sekarang ni rakyat tanya, oh pemimpin semua ni ambil Pfizer, barang baik. Ya, yang lain-lain ni semua untuk rakyat biasa saja. Jadi saya dah buat keputusan semalam, saya akan ambil vaksin yang akan diluluskan seterusnya. Apa saja vaksin yang diluluskan seterusnya, saya orang pertama ambil. Kalau Sinovac, Sinovac. Kalau daripada Rusia, Rusia. Kalau AstraZeneca, AstraZeneca lah. Ya? Saya tak akan ambil vaksin Pfizer. Bukan sebab Pfizer tak bagus. Pfizer bagus. Pfizer dah selamat dan terbukti. Tapi biarlah, ada juga daripada barisan menteri ni yang memberi contoh ambil vaksin yang akan datang. So whatever vaccine crosses the line next, I'll take. And I don't know which one it's going to be. If it's Sinovac, Sinovac. If it's Sputnik, it's Sputnik. I'll take the vaccine. I'll be the first to take the next vaccine.
My question is about the Chinese vaccine. Third trial has started this January. So could you introduce some ongoing details of the third trial's result? And one more is, will Chinese vaccine got the permission to use for the public as emergency using before the third trial got the result? Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
On the trials that are ongoing right now, it's coming along well. We are looking for volunteers from the older age group at the moment, and it's coming along smoothly. We've had very, very strong response from Malaysians to participate in the phase 3 clinical trials that are going on right now. As far as emergency use is concerned, Malaysia does not and is not planning to use emergency authorization for vaccines. All our regulatory approvals so far for Pfizer has not used emergency use because we don't want to cut corners when it comes to regulatory approvals.
Oh, hi. Hello. Hi. I'm Lin Hao from Xinhua. I've got a question for the ambassador. So the first is that...
louder, please. Can't hear you.
Hello? All right. My first question is that about the Sinovac vaccine, when will the remaining of the vaccine be arriving in Malaysia? And second, would the ambassador please elaborate a little bit on the other cooperation between Malaysia and China in field like vaccine development? And I also have one question for YB, sorry. If you look at the vaccine portfolio of the National Immunization Program, there will be like 30% from China, more than 20% from Sinovac, and 10% around from CanSino. Of course, you said they were still subject to the regulatory approval by the Malaysian authorities, but does that signal the Malaysian government's trust and faith in this Chinese developed vaccine from the onset of it?
Excellency, would you want to say something first?
大使阁下您好我想请问您，请问剩余的科兴疫苗将于何时运抵马来西亚？第二个想请问您的问题是，请问中马两国在疫苗合作方面还有何其他最新进展？谢谢。
According to my understanding, because actually the Sinovac has signed an agreement with Februari. The rest of the Sinovac will arrive in Malaysia actually from the March onward, actually during the year, month by month. And also, according to my knowledge about the cooperation between China and Malaysia, besides the Sinovac, also the Chinese company is CanSino. Company is currently is negotiating with Malaysia side. Maybe Malaysia Ministry of Health is negotiating about to provide the Chinese vaccine about 3.5 million doses of the vaccines to Malaysia. And also the Chinese Shenzhen company is a contact company and also have signed an agreement with the Malaysia's company named Yongtai. And currently is conducting the phase 3 clinical trials in Malaysia. And upon the success, the contact will provide 10 million doses of the vaccines per year within the 5 years. And also the Chinese Academy of the Medical Science is conducting actually Sinovac, it's a phase 3 clinical trials. Currently it's going very well and access smoothly. So I think it's in the future, maybe there are other, actually the Chinese companies and the Malaysia companies will continue to have the cooperation on the vaccines development. So all of this, I think, indicated that the relationship between China and Malaysia also reached a very high, especially during the pandemic prevention. I think and I believe that the Chinese side and the Malaysia side will code very good cooperation on the vaccine development and cooperation. Thank you.
I'd just like to add to what His Excellency said. Our portfolio of vaccines were negotiated based on early clinical results, interim clinical results, as well as the track record of the vaccine manufacturers. We, of course, want all the vaccines to go through the necessary regulatory approvals. But I think the cooperation between the government of the People's Republic of China and Malaysia was extremely important in ensuring that we could also include the Chinese vaccines in our portfolio. Okay?
And we have one more question over here.
Can we get somebody else to ask first? Yeah, over there.
Hello. Hello, hi. Thank you, KJ. I saw Pharma Niaga Berhad will fill and finish the vaccines. And my questions are, how many vials are there in each batch that Sinovac can provide? And the second one is, are there any differences in quantity from Pfizer's and Sinovac's in terms of vials quantity? Thank you.
As far as how many vials per batch, that's something that Pharma Niaga will answer. The only thing is, I can tell you from the 200 liters that we have received this morning, that translates to about 300,000 doses, if I'm not mistaken, yeah? And as far as the vial per dose is concerned, I think it's 5. Sorry? 1 dose per vial. Oh, it's 1 dose per vial. Okay?
Wabi?
Ya.
Wabi KJ? Alright, Wabi, saya ada 3 soalan. Soalan pertama berhubung dengan vaksin Sinovac ni. Adakah NPRA akan hanya bagi kelulusan apabila semua vaksin yang dihantar secara pukal ni tiba ke lokasi pemprosesan Pharma Niaga, ataupun dia boleh berlaku secara concurrently untuk dikeluarkan 2 juta dos yang pertama tu? Soalan kedua berhubung dengan kebenaran daripada FDA terhadap penyimpanan dan penstoran vaksin Pfizer. Sekarang ni ada kelonggaran supaya tidak lagi perlu memerlukan peti sejuk simpanan ultra. Bagaimana, ada sebarang pindaan kepada proses penyimpanan di Malaysia atau tidak? Soalan yang terakhir, FDA juga meluluskan kelulusan kepada 1 dose vaksin which is Johnson & Johnson. Boleh dapatkan procurement update on that matter? Thank you.
Ya, pertamanya saya nak menjelaskan proses kelulusan bagi Sinovac ini, ya. Bagi Sinovac ini, dia ada 2 kelulusan yang diperlukan oleh NPRA. Yang pertama, NPRA akan memberi kelulusan kepada vaksin yang dikeluarkan oleh Sinovac Life Sciences di China itu sendiri. Itu vaksin yang dibuat di China sebab raw material dia datang daripada China. Jadi itu kelulusan perlu dibuat untuk vaksin yang keluar daripada kilang di China. Tetapi oleh kerana proses pembotolan ataupun fill finish dilaksanakan di Malaysia, itu permohonan yang kedua. Itu kelulusan yang kedua. Jadi ada dua kelulusan di sini yang diperlukan, ya. Jadi soal adakah NPRA akan bagi kelulusan apabila batch by batch? No. Kalau sekiranya NPRA dah puas hati dengan vaksin yang telah pun kita terima pada hari ini dan juga proses penghilangan dan juga stability testing yang dilaksanakan, maka selepas itu akan diberikan kelulusan dan juga didaftarkan. Mungkin conditional registration seperti mana Pfizer. Tetapi apa yang NPRA buat setiap kali a new batch comes in, they do lot release inspection. Apa yang dinamakan sebagai lot release inspection. Batch by batch datang, dia akan inspect setiap penghantaran untuk memastikan bahawa tidak ada kecacatan kepada penghantaran tersebut. But as far as the registration, it's once, but on a conditional basis. That's the indication from NPRA. On the storage condition for Pfizer, you're right, FDA has given approval for the Pfizer vaccines to be stored at a higher temperature, which is minus 20 degrees Celsius. This will help with our logistics management. But the conditional license that Pfizer has received from NPRA is based on the minus 80 degrees Celsius storage condition. So what Pfizer will need to do now is to resubmit ataupun submit to NPRA the new data that shows that the vaccine is stable for 2 weeks at minus 20 degrees Celsius for NPRA to make approval. Yeah? Walaupun dah disetujui di FDA, we have to approve it here. And the initial application by Pfizer was for storage conditions of minus 70 to 80 degrees Celsius. So they will have to submit the new data to show that the vaccine is stable at minus 20 degrees Celsius. Soalan ketiga berkenaan dengan Johnson & Johnson. Pihak KKM sedang memperhalusi term sheet daripada Johnson & Johnson dari aspek undang-undang dan sebagainya. Dan saya telah minta supaya dipercepatkan untuk ditandatangani term sheet tersebut oleh Yang Berhormat Menteri Kesihatan dalam masa yang terdekat. Yeah, can we just go through everyone and then we'll come back to you. Yes, anyone else? Code Blue?
Good morning, YB. Ashwita here from Code Blue. I have 3 questions. The first one is NPRA going to conduct human trials as part of their regulatory approval for the Sinovac?
No.
Okay. All right. The second one is, for example, those who are vaccinated, can they now stop using the face mask and not adhere to social distancing?
No.
Or is there some form of conditions, for example, 3 people in one room, all vaccinated, don't have to wear face mask?
For now, no. For now, all non-pharmaceutical interventions remain as per existing SOPs. That's because, it's not because we're not confident with the vaccines, but it's because we simply don't have enough data yet. So on advisement from DG, we maintain all SOPs, including for people who are vaccinated. So even if you're vaccinated, the guy next to you is vaccinated, wear your mask.
All right.
Third question?
Thank you,
Third question?
Yeah. The third one is, are we seeing a pattern of selective vaccine hesitancy, particularly towards certain vaccine? They don't want to get vaccinated with this particular vaccine in the public. And if yes, what's our approach on tackling this situation?
We are seeing some selective hesitancy. There are those who really want the Pfizer vaccine. There are those who really want the Sinovac vaccine. I've spoken to some medical practitioners who say that the Sinovac vaccine uses the traditional inactivated platform, which is you take the whole virus, you inactivate it, and you put it inside your body. That's how the old vaccines used to work. It's tried and tested. It is the analog technology of vaccines. It is tried and tested. There are some who say, oh, the mRNA is good because of the efficacy is high. These are all views that we have to listen to. Yeah? At the moment, the government's position is, please take whatever it is that the NPRA has approved. It's safe and efficacious. That's why I've offered myself to take whatever it is that the NPRA has approved next. I'll take that as a demonstration of vaccine confidence and also to my confidence towards NPRA. But we'll continue to monitor this. At the moment, our logistics system, it will complicate our logistics system to allow people a choice. So my message is still the same. Whatever the NPRA says is safe and efficacious, take that vaccine. Okay, we can take from you.
Yeah, last question. Yeah, I just feel a little bit confused because Sinovac has been used in China and other countries, millions of people, among millions of people. So I know NPRA now is still reviewing the effectiveness of the Sinovac. Could you tell us the detail, the specific schedule of how long the assessment will be, and when possibly will the Malaysia public can reject the Sinovac? Thank you.
First of all, we take note of where these vaccines are being used around the world. But we have our own regulatory agency. And only our regulatory agency can approve vaccines to be used in Malaysia. Yes, we look at whether the vaccine has been approved by the FDA, by the European medical regulator, by the UK medical regulator in China. But at the end of the day, vaccines in Malaysia must be approved by our regulator because we want to make sure it's safe for our people. As far as the timing of when it will be approved, I've said earlier, our regulators are independent and they will not tell me or any minister when the vaccine will be approved. And that should be the case because we want to make sure that there is no pressure, that there's full independence for our regulator, and we want to make sure that the data that they receive transparent and good data. Pfizer was approved very quickly because they gave their data quickly. It was published internationally in peer-reviewed journals, and the data was widely available and transparent. If you publish your data in internationally recognized peer-reviewed journals and it's transparent, the process is faster.
Can we have more questions?
Last question, one last question from the
Yes.
screen. Yeah, thank you.
Can we have last question from the Zoom? Or if we don't have any
Whatever?
further questions,
Okay. Yeah.
I would like to thank Mr. YBKJ and also Her Excellency O Young Eugene, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the People's Republic of China to Malaysia, for this press conference. Ladies and gentlemen, dengan itu saya mengakhiri sesi sidang media pada hari ini. Jutaan terima kasih diucapkan daripada Fama Niaga Berhad di atas kesudian tuan-tuan dan puan-puan menghadirkan diri dan memeriahkan sambutan serta penerimaan bekalan pertama vaksin COVID-19 Sinovac ke Malaysia. Sekalung tahniah yang diucapkan kepada Fama Niaga Berhad dan semoga kita berjumpa lagi. Saya Syarkawi Salahuddin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan insyaAllah have a good evening.